Before we begin, I invite you to gently close your ears and focus on what remains when all external sounds fade away. It's like sitting in a quiet room, and after a while, you notice a subtle ringing or hum beneath the silence. If you listen closely, you'll start to experience this soft, constant presence, something that feels like the very fabric of reality itself. In quantum physics, it's said that everything is connected at the most fundamental level, and that everything we see is just a manifestation of deeper, unseen energy. What you are hearing, or rather feeling, is that same energy, that same field of potential. This subtle ringing is what we call the sound of silence. It's not just an abstract concept or some external force. It's the very essence of you. Everything we discuss in this session, and the ones to come, will be about this sound of silence. It is not something separate or different from you. It is you. This exploration is about realizing that the sound of silence is your own inner being, your most fundamental nature, the stillness from which all life arises. You are that, the very presence behind everything. Unlike other forms of knowledge that evolve and may become obsolete as science progresses, this understanding remains untouched by time or change. The nature of reality is ever shifting, determined by perspectives, making it impossible to pin down with absolute certainty. Thus, any attempts to define creation are inherently limited, as each shift in viewpoint alters what seems real. What remains constant, however, is the unchanging conscious self, which stands beyond these transient perspectives. By aligning myself with this conscious awareness, I let go of fears and anxieties, because I no longer identify with the body or its temporary experiences of pleasure and pain. If I were to see myself as the body, I'd be caught in cycles of fear and suffering. But by recognizing that I am the sound of silence, the ever-present awareness behind it all, I move beyond such concerns. The body is merely a vessel, already subject to birth and death, but the witness, the real I, cannot be harmed or destroyed. Understanding this, I see that no harm can come to the true self, the unshakable consciousness that simply observes all things. With this understanding, it becomes clear that causing harm to others or engaging in wrongdoing only stems from a misunderstanding of this truth. To act in ways that hurt others after realizing this would indicate I haven't fully grasped the essence of what these instruments, our minds and bodies, are made of. Recognizing the true nature of reality, I naturally refrain from causing harm. Everything arises from a deeper substrate of stillness and peace, much like how waves and bubbles emerge from water. They may appear different, but they are fundamentally made of the same substance. In the same way, once I understand the underlying oneness of all things, the idea of harming anyone becomes nonsensical. Even in situations where force or conflict is necessary for the greater good, I can remain at peace. I remain centered and calm, even in the midst of turmoil, because I know that none of these circumstances affect the true self. Even when faced with love or separation, I remain untroubled, for I understand that all experiences are transient, and peace comes from within, not from the external world. The key to this peace is knowing my true nature, recognizing that I am already unbound, free, and untouched by the events of the world. The notion that I need to become something, whether happy or liberated, is illusory. I am already complete in my essence, and the finite self, which seeks and strives, is the one trapped in grief. The infinite self, which is my true nature, knows no fear or lack, and so there is nothing left to attain. When I fully grasp that I am the sound of silence, the peaceful awareness behind all thoughts, perceptions, and experiences, then my journey of seeking comes to an end. I no longer need to search for truth or happiness outside of myself. The truth is already here, right in front of me, waiting to be recognized. All that is required is to sit quietly, listen, and understand. I don't need external validation or proof because this understanding comes from within. Whether I can physically see or hear is irrelevant. The I that exists beyond the senses is always present, always aware, and it never dies. Even in deep sleep, when all sensory input fades away, I remain. This is the core of my being, the witness that is conscious even when all external stimuli are gone. When someone wakes me from sleep or calls my name, I respond because the awareness was always there, beneath the surface. However, there are times when the body does not respond, such as in deep anesthesia or coma. In these states, the body's nervous system has been altered by chemicals, preventing sensory signals from reaching the conscious mind. But this doesn't mean the witness, the true self, is gone. It only means that the body's mechanisms have been temporarily disrupted. Everything that happens, whether good or bad, happens to the body, not to the conscious self. The body follows the laws of nature, and when we don't understand these laws, we often add layers of superstition or imagination to explain events. For instance, when a child is born with a deformity, people might turn to spiritual figures or traditional beliefs for answers, accepting explanations that involve past lives or karmic retribution. These stories, while comforting to some, are simply distractions from the truth. The truth is much simpler. Deformities or suffering are not punishments for some past life wrongdoing, but often the result of physical causes, such as the parent's failure to administer a necessary vaccine. In the case of a child suffering from a preventable illness, it is not the child's fault, nor is it the result of his karma. The responsibility lies with the parents who, through ignorance or neglect, failed to protect their child. Yet cultural beliefs persist, attributing such outcomes to the mystical idea of karma, which only serves to confuse and distract from the real causes. The reality is straightforward. The child's suffering is due to a lack of action on the part of those responsible for his care. By recognizing this, we strip away the unnecessary layers of superstition and get to the heart of the matter. Once I see through these stories and grasp the nature of my conscious self, peace and happiness naturally arise. I no longer need to search for answers in mythical narratives or look for meaning in past lives or karma. The answer lies within, in the understanding that I am the unchanging awareness behind all experiences. This realization brings an end to fear, confusion, and suffering, because I know that no matter what happens to the body or the mind, the true self remains untouched and free. This is the essence of supreme knowledge, and once it is understood, it cannot be undone or contradicted by evolving science or changing perspectives.